Okay, JT, I think the next question might be addressing kind of the new UUID features and multiple host management. Will it be possible to import a single host to dotCMS when there are already other hosts in dotCMS, so you can have maybe a test environment before migrating to dotCMS?
Right. Yeah, and I think the answer here is the UUID. Right now, we don't have is just right click on a host, dump this guy to some kind of a file, go to a new guy and import it into another guy. But without a doubt, with UUID, it's technically possible. It could be done in a plugin. It could even be done potentially, from a plugin that provided some tooling where you can write some kind of a cron job if that were needed. All the tooling to make that happen is there. 2.0 we'll start to see more UI tooling built into dotCMS that provides this type of functionality.
Okay, another question under multiple host management. Will it be possible to have a general host in which you can store more global general things like JavaScript, CSS, to avoid duplication among multiple hosts?
Sure. The answer here is it's actually worked this way for a little while and still kind of works this way in that you could use what we call our speedy asset servlet, or you guys maybe have seen this paved this way. You can go whatever your site is slash dot asset slash and then a number 12345 dot JPEG. And you could still do that. So in this respect, it pulls from wherever the host would be, as long as it has permissions. You can do this. This could be relative to whatever host you're on. And this right here is the identifier of the object that you're trying to pull. You actually were able to do that previously in the system, and you still can.
Okay, another question came in. I expect that importing a host when that host is already present will overwrite the existing host. But are there any ideas or plans with merging hosts and or a report with all the differences since a particular date?
Yeah, I think 2.0, again, kind of pointing, again, I think this is talking more about taking a guy out, importing another guy into somewhere else, combining them together. Obviously these issues will need to be addressed as push publishing starts to come into play. And I mean, there's no final word per se right now, but other than in 2.0, the push publishing model is planned.
So switching over here to some questions on permissions, great question came in. How is the upgrade from groups to nested roles handled?
Also, yes, no, good, very good question. We handle it for you when we upgrade. So if we take a look here, we're in the roles manager. You could see when this guy kind of came over, he took all the old roles that we had built in and he dropped them here under system. And then you could kind of create your own roles. We don't know how you want to create your hierarchy, and he's just load lazy, so you can see that there's nothing underneath them. It just lays them flat here underneath. At this point, you'd have to go in. If you wanted to create a hierarchy, you can. If you don't want to create a hierarchy, you don't have to. You could just leave it. But it basically will take all your roles, bring them in. It's going to drop them at the root level here under the system.
Okay, I think this question kind of is addressing the way that if tabs that you saw were tied to your groups, what can you now expect in 1.9 to see whenever you log in with your new user manager after you upgrade?
Okay, well, let's take a look at the user manager. If we click over here, we can look at our test user, and you can see this user has some details. He's our admin guy. You could see here in his roles, any roles that he has will be clicked. You can actually go in. This is nice. Now you do have a permissions tab on the user as well. This is very similar to the one that you saw on the roles guy, except it's for the specific user. And then you get your additional info, which is where this used to be a little box when you would edit the user, and the marketing info also. These were the tags, and the other boxes, the click stream, and so forth. So this is what you would expect. All your users will be here. You can filter for your users, kind of in it. Nice little Ajax guy here. It'll start filtering as you type. It should bring all your users in without a problem. With all the roles and permissions and everything as it comes over, will, for the most part, it'll come into the new system and function like it used to function, and we'll just bring them in. And it used to be that roles were all at one level and so forth. So we bring it in that way.
Okay, great. We're going to switch over to questions that came in about the form builder. I see there's some questions that came in from on the live chat, as well as some questions that were emailed in before, and then we're going to try and address all of them. One of the first questions came in was, can we create a secure HTTPS form using the new form builder that's provided in 1.9?
Sure. The answer would be yes, in very similar ways to the way you used to. Obviously, you'd have to have the secure connector configured on your Tomcat or in your Java, your J2EE container. You in addition to that, on any page, could secure your page. And you still have the little checkbox where you could say HTTPS is required. That would probably be the easiest way, would just be to secure wherever you're placing your form on that particular page. Make sure you got a secure page there. Make sure your cert's all wired together, and it should just function.
Okay, another great question came in. Is there ability to actually enable a secure login that is based upon some specified back-end user roles that you want to just create that page just for those back-end users to be able to log in and submit that form?
And this, I think, is a little, if I understand the question correctly, and if somebody wants, if you want to re-ask the question, if I don't answer what you were really after. It sounds to me like you're trying to create a different type of login page than like the login macro uses or another guy. You certainly could. You could do what the login macro does and just, kind of override that or create a form that submits just like that one does. You could do that in the current system as well as the other one. Or I'm not sure if, based on the second part of the question, it says on a set of specified backend user roles. Not sure if you're looking for some special credentials, only log a user in on the front end if they have this or that, but you could provide a custom login hook if you had some specific needs there. We do have front end, basically like a front end login authenticator where you could provide something very special in that respect.
Okay. There's another question came in about limits on how many fields. Someone was referring to, I guess, the limits in the previous form builder that you can use in a web form. In the old system, they said that the custom fields would be poured into one table row or column with pipe delimiters. What are the limitations here in the new form builder?
Well, basically, the limitations on the new form builder are equivalent to that which you have in content. So they're unchanged. The pipe delimitation on the old form guide, what would happen is we would allow you to build any form you wanted with any number of fields. Now, we had a number of fields, but what would happen is a lot of the extra fields that we didn't specifically provide columns for, they would all get dumped into one table, piped, eliminated. And the purpose of that was, initially the intention of that was, in dotCMS we just had an Excel kind of a CSV dump, and people would submit all these forms. Those forms could be emailed or create accounts. Sometimes they did credit card processing, and then they would collect all the data, and if you needed a report of that, you just clicked the little Excel icon and it would deliver you a CSV of that data. As people's needs have grown out, that has started to become a little cumbersome. So what you have here is it makes it in like content. The forms that you create, in the end, the data that people submit on those forms just become content. So you could pull them out of our tables or whatever in the same way that you could content.